Well, folks, I'm so pumped about getting actually my second video out, day 163, 163 days to go, as opposed to that. That I'm doing a 163 days to go part 2. So, just because I can. So, welcome on board. I'm Nick from Not Too Old for This, and this is my monetization challenge, where I've given myself until the 1st of February next year to try and get monetized under the existing rules, being 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours in the current format. Obviously, from the 1st of February, YouTube is upping that to 8,000 watch hours for long form videos like this. And so I thought, why not? Let's create a bit of a fun challenge for myself where it will, if nothing else, help me improve my game here to get better quality videos. So I just actually, not long ago, about half an hour ago, I uploaded my video I took this afternoon to my YouTube channel. And obviously before I did that, I watched through it just to really check that, first of all, the sound was okay, because as you know, I had a microphone problem with the microphones. I'm hopeful that I've got that sorted, and I'll actually get through this whole slot without having a silent, muted video. So I watched through it, and I thought, I actually thought of some feedback I wanted to give myself, and I thought I'd share that with you as to some of the factors I need to do to improve my videos to make people want to watch, and especially until the end, and also want to like and subscribe. And the first thing I noticed was my lighting. So my lighting was, in the last video, was pretty average. I did shout myself at Kmart, which is like our Walmart, one of those ring lights, which is just over there on my right. Pretty bright. Been playing around with that, but that's pretty cool. I had a couple of LED lights I wiped the dust off, which I've had for quite a while, which I didn't buy for YouTube. I just happened to like them because I'm a bit of a disco nut. Well, not really, but yeah, I just bought them a couple of years ago. So I've popped those out behind me there. There they around my picture of my world famous right-hand man, my four-legged friend, and who's just turning 14 in a couple of months' time. So he is by my side. You can't quite see him, but he's down there in the corner on his day bed, helping me out here tonight. Shortly, I will take him out for a poo, and he'll have a bit of supper, and then he'll retire to the bed where he will rest and continue to sleep, as you're allowed to if you're over 100 years old in human years. So anyway, coming back, I digress, of course. So basically, obviously, lighting is quite important to make it, look smart. I don't think it's everything, but I've spent very, very little money on that. The other thing I noticed was I close my eyes when I'm talking. And so one of my goals here for this particular video is to practice keeping my eyes open while I'm talking to you, because obviously I want to have engagement with you as my listener or my watcher, or listener and watcher, so that you remain interested and you feel like I'm actually talking to you sitting in your living room on the sofa or wherever you might be, or scrolling through this as you're wandering down the street. And the other thing I thought was really interesting was basically my background. For one of my careers for quite a few years, I was a residential house auctioneer. And if you think about what auctioneers do, they think on their feet, and they have to think very fast on their feet and speak very fast. But it's not the speaking very fast that's so difficult. It's basically keeping your train of thought going when you're speaking at that high level and creating that excitement and what have you. Now, doing videos like this, the key, I believe, and I listen, I'm still learning. It's very weird staring into a camera at a spot, thinking there might be people on the other side of the camera actually watching this. It's very odd indeed. However, looking through the key, I think, with good presentations is not writing out your script word for word. Right? It's like doing, I don't know if many of you over 50 would have debating in school when you're at school. And the key really is not reading your speech verbatim. However, it's to break it down into bullet points. And then those bullet points can actually bounce you to fill in the gaps because they're just reminders or they're hooks in your brain to think, oh, I need to talk about that. And then through practice, you get better and better at basically speaking publicly, not using notes and reading them. Of course, this particular follow-up video, I actually haven't even done that. I just thought, I just watched that last video and there's a little bit of feedback I thought I would give myself, and I would actually give myself by recording another session and basically trying to improve on those things. So all those small aspects, I think, in fact, just they create small improvements that ultimately create big improvements. The other thing I notice on YouTube creators is many of them, and maybe it's just an American thing. I don't know. You can maybe make a comment in the comment section about this. But many North Americans, or probably mainly Americans, in fact speak so very, very fast and high energy. And if you're not used to that, it's actually quite exhausting. And for myself, although Kiwis, New Zealanders, we do speak quite fast, when I'm watching anything on like presentations, I quite like a slightly slower speed, and it gives me the chance to essentially digest the information and think about it, as opposed to the super speedy where there's so much information you get overwhelmed, and then I end up listening and not even listening, but you're not really listening. So that's another challenge if you're going to get in front of a camera, is basically to think about who are your listeners going to be? Who are your watchers going to be? So is there anything I can do to help them enjoy this series even more than maybe they would? So now don't forget also that as part of this challenge, obviously a key challenge is I need some subscribers. And with that, basically, I've just got a notification on my phone about that last video I uploaded, that I have a notification. So I don't quite know what that is. Maybe somebody's actually commented as I'm speaking on that video. So let's just see. I'll have to go back to that after I've finished this recording and actually, maybe I've got a comment. I've only ever had one comment on one of those videos. I'd love you to comment on my video. Give me some feedback, or just tell me about what you're doing on YouTube in terms of if you have any interest in being a creator as well, and what have you found easy, what have you found difficult? What are your areas of interest that you would like to video about? It's interesting that, because I had another channel, which I don't know if it's live now or not, called No Niche Nick, or No Niche Nick, which, as Americans would say, which was the idea that the way my brain works is I think probably if I was younger and I was at school, potentially I would have been diagnosed as ADHD, I reckon, because my brain's just like that. And so one of the challenges I have with YouTube, they talk about find a a niche or an area of interest, and ideally if it's something that interests you, and that kind of becomes you find your audience for that. And my initial idea was, oh, well, I just won't have one. I'll just talk about this or I'll talk about that and what have you. But actually, a part of the YouTube algorithm, it does help so that the little gremlin in YouTube can actually go through and work out, well, so what is this guy generally talking about? And so where are we going to get, or who might be interested in hearing what he has to say? And then it points your video in your direction. Um, so essentially, that's how I came up with Not Too Old for This, because actually my focus audience is for people who are over 50, who like to try new things, maybe a little bit nervous about the amount to learn when it comes to you being a YouTube creator, and basically give you essentially a real life journey of someone within your age group, and understanding. Um, Maybe I have slightly less understanding than many, to be perfectly frank, when it comes to this stuff. But basically, I wanted the demographic to be the over 50 crowd, right? So the over 50 crowd. Now, and I also think that this talky, vloggy sort of scenario for the over 50 crowd is actually really good, because we know and understand and enjoy that art of conversation. And let's be honest, some of the young ones, I think the art of conversation is a dying art, right? With the advent, ironically, of all of the mobile phones and the technology and the social networking, the art of two strangers standing in a hallway or in a lift and striking up a conversation and having an interesting conversation is a lost one. Makes me incredibly sad that. So I actually think that this format for the over 50 crowd actually works very well, because that's one area of when I'm watching YouTube, that one of my favorites is there's a number of people just like myself, similar age bracket, who are out there and they're sitting like me in a room and they're chatting and sharing their knowledge and their expertise about a whole variety of things. And I find that so much more personable. And equally, coming back to the speaking slowly scenario, it's a conversational type vlog. And I think for some people, that's awesome, right? There's an interest out there for absolutely everybody. And out of the billions of people across the world, there will be, there will be a few people that might actually be interested in what I have to say. It won't be everybody. A lot of people find it bloody boring, but it doesn't really matter. So if you've got this far, maybe you could do one more step for me and like and especially subscribe, obviously. And do feel free to throw a comment into the comment section. I'm going to, must remember to kind of check that every now and then. I don't know, I probably can get a notification to tell me if somebody's made a comment or not. I must find that out as well. And that is one area of weakness for me. Well, actually, that's all an area of weakness, if I'm honest. However, the uploading, so I've got the uploading scenario is sorted. I know how to do that, and the filling in the description and all that sort of razzmatazz. But the behind the scenes stuff, the analytics and all that stuff, probably if I'm fortunate and I do get a few more subscribers, and if you are one of them, then it will be able to tell me more about the demographic or the part of the world you're from, or how long you listen to me ramble on and on. So this is part 2 of 163 days to go. I think that's right. Tomorrow I will put up a Sunday edition, which will basically review those things. So reviews of the subscribers, review the views. Now this first one for tomorrow probably won't be that exciting. You know, if I'm lucky, I might get one extra subscriber. I don't know. However, life is a journey, And for me, and I'm a motorcycle rider, and I love riding motorbikes and travelling extensively on motorbikes, going on long trips. Is that it's about the journey just as much as it's about the destination. So for me, this is about the journey with you, my listeners, and my lookers. Sorry, I forget we're on video. It's not just the radio or the wireless, as my long gone nana used to say. So anyway, you have a lovely day, and thank you for joining me. I'm Nick from Not Too Old for This, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one.